roll. Do you know who's here?
Yeah, there are 5 aldermen here.
Okay.
You and 4 other aldermen, sorry. John David and James are not here right now.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got we're getting some feedback from somebody. I don't know where that's coming from, or I'm getting
Sounds like a drum roll.
Yeah, like a wind noise or something, but
You can hear that? I can't hear it.
it went away for a second, and now it's back.
Well, if anybody who's not speaking can mute, that way we can cut out some of that background noise, because we want like to hear what Missy has to say tonight.
Okay, just put it on mute.
Yeah.
If you would,
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I can mute it too,
I don't know. All right, so the first item on the agenda tonight is the special presentation from Keep Tennessee Beautiful with the Executive Director, Missy Marshall. We appreciate you being with us tonight, and now we'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you. I had to unmute myself. If it's okay, I appreciate your all's time. I want to start out by introducing my team member, Edmund McDavis. Edmund's going to be going through the PowerPoint with me. We did send a PDF form that because we really want to be conscientious of your time. We know you've got the city's business to do. So we thank you for the opportunity to share our mission and maybe talk about how we could possibly partner to help get Somerville part of Keep Tennessee Beautiful. Edmund is our Director of Affiliate Services and Training. So when I'm usually called to talk about the benefits of becoming an affiliate, when a community decides that they want to take that next step, then Edmund takes over and helps guide them through the process, because he has received the professional certification on behalf of Keep America Beautiful and training and setting up affiliates across the state. So I'll go through, if you'll be patient with me, I'll go through this presentation, and hopefully you all have your copies with you, or at least you'll have access to go back and look over if I go too fast, and we'll have questions at the end. So how can you help Keep Tennessee Beautiful? We'll tell you a little bit about our team. I'm blessed to work with some very passionate people who truly believe in our mission. 3 of them, I actually were original team members when I assumed this role in 2013. I came here from the Governor Haslam's administration. I'd worked with a gentleman named Jim Henry, and we were working at DIDD and Children's Services. Love brought me to West Tennessee, and I've been blessed with a great team. Pamela is our Assistant Director of Keep Tennessee Beautiful. Steen is our Community Outreach Coordinator. I've introduced you to Edmund, Affiliate Services and Training. Previously, he was our Communications Director and trained our current Communications Director, Monica, over in the far right. And Kyle Howard is a graduate and an Eagle Scout. He's graduated University of Memphis with an Earth Sciences degree, and he is our Coordinator of Education and Research. So I was asked to kind of talk to you all about whether or not your town would benefit from being affiliated with Keep America Beautiful. And I'll talk a little bit about how we're structured and set up as we go through this presentation. Our mission, which we live out every day. To me, after serving 24 years at the state level, to be able to lead this team and promote this mission is just, it's something that I lived before I actually assumed this role. But our mission is to educate and inspire Tennesseans to take action every day to improve and beautify their community environment. How do we do that? We do that through education, engagement, and enforcement. We really have the emphasis in education because our goal is to, hopefully when we educate people, we'll inspire them to take action and change their behaviors. These are just some action shots of us actually in action, doing the education and engagement parts to keep the Tennessee River Beautiful cleanup. Here's Kyle doing, we do a litter That's okay. We do a litter law enforcement training. So we actually are post certified. We can come in if you're to your police department and do the litter law training, and they can actually receive credit for that for their post hours. And so we're just happy to offer that service to any community across the state. We are members of the Tennessee Chief of Police Association. So for every dollar that you would put for a volunteer, this is the national average that we received from Keep America Beautiful, that a volunteer hour is worth $30.59. That is for you all, if you were doing this work or you were paying an employee to do the work that some of the volunteers do, you could save yourself $30.59 an hour. We'll show you how that adds up later on in this presentation. So how we're structured, that I serve as the executive director for Keep Tennessee Beautiful. I also have the honor of serving as the state leader for Keep America Beautiful. So I represent Tennessee on the national level, and not only just from our affiliate network, but I was blessed to be nominated and elected, and recently am about to expire the 3-year term, but I was elected by my peers in other states, like Keep Florida Beautiful, Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful, Georgia Beautiful, to serve as their representative for the State Leaders Council on the board of directors of Keep America Beautiful. So we serve as that conduit between the national organization and the 33 local Keep America Beautiful affiliates that we have throughout the state. Here you can see in the blue, these are our county affiliates, and in the green are our city or town affiliates. One of our affiliates, this includes our affiliate Keep the Tennessee River Beautiful, and I'll tell you a little bit about that as we move on in the presentation. So we are an organization that gets results, of course, just like every other organization across the world. Our numbers will be impacted severely. We didn't get to do the Great American Cleanup back in the spring that we normally do, but based on our 2018 and 2019 cleanups, and this is not only our affiliates, these are also volunteers who volunteer in communities throughout Tennessee for the Great American Cleanup. I won't read you all these numbers. I'm hoping you have it in front of you, but I'll read you the top one: 3,953,084 pounds of litter collected. That's with 91,135 volunteers across the state. What is that value of those volunteer hours? Is $25,924,422. So some of the programs that Keep America Beautiful offers that helps us accomplish our mission, and these programs are available to communities for them to participate, and you do not have to be an affiliate to do that. The Great American Cleanup is one that we always encourage communities to do. I know my first 5 years in this role, I'm very, very competitive, especially at the national level, and when we meet on an annual basis and we get those awards. One of the ones that we would get is the best promoted and participated Keep America Beautiful Great American Cleanup. And so my goal was always to have at least one cleanup in all 95 counties, so to get 100% participation. And we still, whether we get an award or not, we still push for that because that just benefits our state and our communities. So the Great American Cleanup is one that you as a community can sign up, participate in. You will receive trash bags, a banner, a press release, if you've got an organization you can partner with to do a cleanup. America Recycles Day, that is typically in November, and I'll give you an example. Hardeman County, Mayor Jimmy Zane, one year, he did an initiative to promote America Recycles Day, and he put out a big dumpster outside on the square outside of his office, encouraged the citizens to bring their aluminum cans, deposit them in there. The money collected from that recycling those cans was then donated to their animal shelter there in Hardeman County. Recycle Bowl is a competition that we encourage between schools, and Keep America Beautiful, because of some some of the sponsorships in there had at one point, it used to have monetary awards. What Keep Tennessee Beautiful does is try to work with TDOT to continue to fund those winners of that Recycle Bowl. And then the cigarette litter prevention program, and I'm going to, towards the end of the conversation, let Edmund tell you a little bit about that because he's our champion in that area. So Keep Tennessee Beautiful programs that were initiated and developed and implemented at our state level. The Ready, Set, Grow is a 5K that we typically do in honor of the Great American Cleanup as an awareness and outreach event. Every year, we try to use that as a fundraiser. We've been good to just break even. The Nancy and Sluggo book, you should have a copy of that. And it was donated to every public library across the state of Tennessee. And one of the reasons for that is because we were hoping that it would be a imagination library or a book of the month club back when Miss Haslam had her Read 20 initiative. One of the requirements was there had to be a copy in every public library. This is an educational tool as well as a fundraising tool. Our affiliates, we actually allow them to purchase those below cost, sell it, and have a $4.50% profit off of it to help them with their programming in their areas. The Saved by the Jeans was developed by Monica Kaiser, who's our communications coordinator, and she actually encourages people to recycle jeans and puts them in various sites. And the University of Memphis campus, the Jackson Lambeth campuses, and collects those jeans and recycles them. The Awards of Excellence is a biannual awards. We partner and do that in coordination with the Department of Transportation. This is something your community can benefit from. These awards, and I think it's on a slide towards the end of this presentation, but there's one year there was 44,000 distributed in award money for various categories of initiatives that were brought forth from communities across the state. TDOT, I'm sure some of you have heard about the campaign or see some of the public service announcements. One of the things that the beautification office at Department of Transportation every year does a litter survey. They also do a litter prevention campaign. If you're old enough, you might remember, I certainly do, Ain't No Lower Class Than Tennessee Trash, the guy driving down the highway throwing the trash out. That was a statewide litter prevention program. And then Stop Litter. And then this one is Nobody Trashes Tennessee, that's got Trash Squatch, and they partner with the litter grant coordinators across the state and look for local communities to help us promote that message. This is an example of a partnership between Department of Transportation, Department of Environment and Conservation, and Keep Tennessee Beautiful. We have seen since COVID, last March, we've just seen an incredible amount of personal protection equipment litter. You may have seen it in your community too. The gloves at the grocery store, in the parking lots, the gloves at the gas pumps, face mask. TDEC, Environment Conservation, we're seeing people put these one-time use masks in recycling bins. So we did just kind of a statewide awareness media advisory, and we've put just a few of these short videos together, and we'll show you just one of them that we're sharing on our social media platform, just encouraging people to put this waste in its proper place. I'm not sure. Does it have sound, Edmund? I believe it has sound, but for some reason we can't hear it. That's just a brief. We've got more. I just, in the interest of time, I didn't want to show them all. So our affiliates, these are some ways that they help us accomplish our mission and different activities that they do. Keep Chester County Beautiful does National Planting Day, where you can see here they're using tires, recyclable materials, and kind of teaching not only how we can reduce, reuse, and recycle, but that we can also do some beautification projects with those items. Keep the Tennessee River Beautiful. We are in Tennessee. This is the first Keep America Beautiful certified river affiliate. This program was incubated as a program at Keep Tennessee Beautiful, and was part of an initiative that it was called the Tennessee River Tour. And it was to raise awareness on water quality and to reduce the amount of litter, because usually the litter that hits the roads goes into the waterways. And Knoxville, the city of Knoxville, was trying to revitalize their community as a river city, and wanted to have Chad Progracki, who was the CNN Hero of 2013, come to their city with their barge. We got together TDOT, Keep Tennessee Beautiful, TVA, and promoted this tour. And from that, worked on becoming a nonprofit affiliate that hits 4 states now. And they do the Grand Slam cleanup every year. And then Nobody Trashes Tennessee, we partnered across the state with affiliates and offered reusable bags in various grocery stores all across the state on one single day. Some benefits of becoming part of an affiliate network: national credibility, professional network opportunities. The tools, the Community Appearance Index is something that's required if you decide to become an affiliate. This tool helps you assess where your issues are in your community, and build on a plan and prioritize where you want to start. And it's just a great tool that is part of the Keep America Beautiful certification. Grants and kind donations, of course, affiliate awards, and then ongoing support. There's just regular online forums, the President Circle designation, and then just some of the programs that we showed you. And no size fits all. These are just made available, and communities have them. They're just accessible to you if it's something that could meet your needs and help you address what your concerns are. Types of grants are available, and our certified affiliates qualify for these. As I've explained, that I've sit on the national board. On that board, there are executives from Coca-Cola, UPS, Waste Management, Wrigley, Nestle Water. These are strong supporters of the national organization, and they provide various grants for community improvement programs, recycling bins, cigarette disposable bins, and trash bags. And then one that hits home, the Community Restoration and Resiliency Fund. We did a Grand Slam cleanup at Pickwick Lake that was impacted by the flooding a couple of years ago. And the President of Keep America Beautiful came down and presented a check for $10,000 just to help with the restoration efforts after flooding. Some of the affiliates who've received some of these grants, and the level of these grants are Keep Blount County Beautiful, Keep Nashville Metropolitan Beautification, Keep McMinn Beautiful, Putnam County all received $5,000 grants. The Lowe's Community Improvement Grants. Keep Lakeland Beautiful, their first year as affiliate received a $10,000 grant for a community improvement. And that could be to do a memorial garden, a green space, just projects that you prioritize in your community. And you could see Keep Kingsport Beautiful and Keep Knoxville received $20,000. So I'm going to turn this over to Edmund at this point, because Edmund on our team, when the cigarette litter prevention program first started, he said, I want to apply for this. I want our state to be a part of this. And so I'm going to give him a few minutes to talk about this program and some of the accomplishments that we've had and how much money that we've been awarded by participating in it. So I'm going to turn that over to Edmund and mute myself.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'll be brief. Over the years since 2015, we have received a total of $100,000 in grants from KAB for the cigarette litter prevention program. And this year alone, we received $20,000 for this program to abate cigarette litter. And what we're doing new this year, we're also in turn always, trying to make things better. We're recycling the cigarette litter collected. And some past partners that we've participated in this program with is, of course, our over 20 of our 33 KB affiliates in the state. We've also participated with the Downtown Memphis Association, Bristol Motor Speedways, the Tennessee Department of Tourism Welcome Centers, every welcome center across the state, and also the CMAs. So this is a program that we could easily install in your community. It doesn't take much effort to get things going. The things that we provide through this program are cigarette receptacles, so that we're giving people the proper tools to put their cigarette litter in its proper place. Because this could be dangerous. Like a couple of years ago in Sevier County, I think fire was caused by cigarette butts. So this is something that's very important. Cigarette butts are the #1 litter item still. It was that way when we started this program, and it's still that way, unfortunately. And that's something that gets in our water and it gets in the food that we eat. So maybe that's something that we can discuss with you all down the road. And to also further talk about this slide, as you can see, several of our Tennessee affiliates have received grants from this program. This is also a program that you all can also apply for without being an affiliate of Keep Tennessee Beautiful, or Keep America Beautiful, sorry. And Missy also talked earlier about the KTNB Awards of Excellence program. As she mentioned last year, the program, we had our conference and where we granted out a total of $46,000 in grant monies to organizations across the state of Tennessee, including our affiliates. These categories, some you don't have to be an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful to apply for these different categories that we have. And they include different categories such as education or water cleanups, or either observing people, local leaders in your communities. So this is something that you also should definitely take advantage of in your community. And we will have this competition again in 2021. So we're looking forward to it. And with that, I think I'll flip it back to you, Missy.
Okay. And then what's our next slide? Okay. Well, the affiliate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let me roll through this one. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, and this slide also explains, it streamlines this entire presentation in layman's term of the affiliation process. Of course, we would love for any community leaders that are looking to better their community to come on board as a KB affiliate. And in that process, I would be directly involved. Missy would be directly involved with helping you all grow to be a KB affiliate. And as you can see, you go through the community training, then you take action to become a KB affiliate by having the training at the local level and with KB involved. It's not a hard process. The first step has already been done, which is showing the interest. So now I'll turn it back over to you, Missy.
Okay. So I'll go through these pretty fast because I know y'all got to get to business. But how can you improve Somerville? I mean, these are just ways that you can start without even being an affiliate. Just things that And again, it's not something that government has to take over. You could actually, some of the best affiliates we have are actually programs that are part of the local chambers. They have existing staff that are in there that assume the role, because one of the requirements is having a part-time executive director. Does not have to be paid. There's only one affiliate in the state that's all completely volunteer based, and that's Keep Anderson County Beautiful, to the best of my knowledge that I can remember. But ways that just to, and I just recently saw a memo that came out from the Department of Transportation. For years, the commissioner was saying approximately $15 million a year is being spent to address litter in Tennessee. I saw that amount has increased to 18 million. That's a lot of money that could be spent on public safety, on education, and it's preventable. So if you can encourage your community, just first identify your sources of litter. If you're seeing along the roadways, is it the motorist, is it pedestrian, or is it uncovered loads? We find in the rural areas, a lot of times if you don't have roadside pickup, the culprit is the trash haulers, whether it's the resident themselves or it is a company that they pay to pick up their trash and take it to the landfill or the convenience center. Is it non-roadway at transition points? When that litter is moved, is it in transition point? Is it in storm drains or loading docks, recreation areas, and retail stores, as we talked about with the gloves on the ground and things? These things can be prevented. So the litter dynamics, it's like I just said, it's often carried from its original place. And it's carried by water, wind, traffic, animals, fences, walls. And this is part of the assessment when you're looking at your community and you're seeing litter, is to kind of, what are the dynamics? How's it getting here? Is it intentional? Is it unintentional? And the behavior, I oftentimes, I have friends, like I literally had an alderman in my town. We were driving down the road, stopped at a red light, and literally he took a piece of gum and threw it out. And I looked at him and I was like, have we met? I mean, do you know what I do for a living? And he goes, what? It's biodegradable. It'll dissolve on its own. And I'm like, what if 1,000 people stopped at this red light and threw their gum out? And I said, it's not really the item. You're penalized by the size of the item. It's the actual behavior of taking the gum out of your mouth and tossing it out the window. That is littering. And you're penalized for what you littered. And he was like, well, I didn't realize that. And I said, yes. So even banana peels is considered litter. And so we focus on the behavior. We look at ways to how can we address that behavior? And that's something I would encourage you as a community, as community leaders, whether it's your public works staff that are out about, are they seeing the litter, the cigarette litter? Is it because there's not receptacles? Have you ever been walking in a store and you see a trash can and literally there's trash right in front of the trash can and it doesn't get there for whatever reason? So just assessing that and addressing that litter and behavior. Providing more receptacles. And once, when we're done with this presentation, clearly, you all have our information. We're willing to work with you. As Edmund mentioned, we have cigarette receptacles. If that's somewhere you want to start, just start in areas that you see a great deal of cigarette litter. Do a scan, see how much is there, put some signage up and receptacles, go back, do a rescan and see if that's had an impact. Just ways to address, especially those points where you're seeing more litter. And then establish a norm, setting that standard. I always say one of the things, if you're familiar with Germantown, Tennessee, when we did the Nobody Trashes Tennessee before it was named, they did these studies where they had people come in and talk about litter. They didn't even know what they were being asked about when they came to these studies. And a lot of people didn't realize that, how expensive it was to address litter and, just establishing those norms. Well, one of the things that we've said that, there's towns that you just know you do not speed in. I mean, you just know. We know if you speed in that town, like Piperton, Tennessee or Germantown, you're going to get a ticket. Bartlett the mayor has just his law enforcement will ticket you for littering. enforcement is the last resort. We don't like to, depend on that, but sometimes it is necessary. So setting those norms and what the expectations are within your community. And we talked about, we are a behavioral change organization. If we don't focus on changing the behavior, everything that we do is in vain. As much as I love to be outside and participate in the cleanups, and I do require our team, and Edmund will tell you, to participate in at least 3 cleanups a year yourself, because we're not going to ask people to do things that we're not willing to do ourselves. And so a lot of times, me personally, I would rather see, if someone goes to court for littering, I'd rather them have to go out and pick up litter and see, that it's not somebody else's job. It's your own personal responsibility. Paying a fine just kind of sends that message that we can pay other people to do it. And we've realized that cost our government quite a bit to do that. And so we focus on these behavioral change, and that's part of the training that comes with being part of the Keep America Beautiful affiliate. So with that said, I don't know if we have time, but I would make myself available for any questions. And again, just reiterate that we are here to partner with you all at any level that you would like to. And then if you'd like to, think you might want to consider taking that next step and to becoming an affiliate, and you can reach us, after y'all's meeting at a different time, and we're happy to walk you through that process.
I have a copy of this PowerPoint if anybody would like to see it again. So we can go through it again. You can go through it on your own, take a look at it if you'd like. I just want to ask, my one question is, can I perform a citizen's arrest if I see somebody throwing something out of their window? It just happened the other day. I mean, I've seen trucks go down the road and flying out of the back of the truck and that kind of stuff, but actually somebody roll down the window, throw a styrofoam cup out of the window going 50 miles an hour, and it exploded on the ground next to, near my car behind, because I was right behind her.
Yes.
First time in a while that I've actually seen that happen.
Did we have a TDOT littering hotline? Did we put that number in the,
Okay.
and I do, it's so funny. My kids are like, Mom, I report every time I see it. I am not kidding. And my husband has literally, we've been at a park and this lady threw her cigarette down, and my husband went and picked it up and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, you dropped this." The lady just looked at him like, it's, it is an economic community development issue. I'll tell you this quick story. And I was speaking on Bot Radio Network one year, promoting the Great American Cleanup. And we did a thing, Faith in Action, where Memphis City Beautiful reached out to pastors in the area. And I said, when I first started this, I went to training at Keep America Beautiful. And one of the stories they talked about was this literally happened in a community, but they did not disclose which community it was. There was a corporation that flew into this town. They met him, their community development person met him at the airport. They got in the car, they were driving to the, the industrial park, the area that they were going to look at this site where this corporation was considering relocating their business and some of their employees. And they didn't even make it to the location. And the guy said, and this is one of the other state directors telling the story. They said, just turn around and go back to the airport. And he was like, is everything okay? And he said, if your community doesn't take any more pride in itself than this, why would I want to invest in it? Why would I want to move my corporation and my employees, hire potential employees, and put my investment here? And so I was telling Byron Tyler on 640 AM, I was like, I'm not, and he looked at me and he said, that was Monroe, Louisiana. He said this on the air. He goes, that was my community when I lived there. I was like, so it really did happen. I said, sometimes you don't know if they tell you these things to sensationalize it a little bit, but I said, it really happened. And he said, yes, it did. And so that's why, on our board, the governor appoints my board, and we have representatives from each department. Like the Commissioner of Homeland Security is a member of my board. Department of Tourist Development, one of their assistant commissioners over the Welcome Centers, is one of my board members. Department of Agriculture and ECD, Sammy gosh, I can't think of Sammy's last name right now. I used to work with him. He's over the distressed communities and
Sammy Arnold.
Sammy Arnold.
Sammy Arnold. He's a member of our board. So, I mean, it's an economic community development issue, and it's a health and safety issue. And so I commend you for at least being interested. Anything that we can do to help you, we're willing to do it, and willing to partner with you at any level. And
I have a question.
Mhm.
Do y'all have signage that we can put up around the town?
That
If
we
we
do
do
not.
You do not? Okay.
We've actually purchased some signs and put them up recently.
Oh, okay.
The littering signs,
Yes,
like for fines. So do you all fine for littering?
we didn't put a fine thing up there. We just, what was it, Mandy? Do you remember what the sign said? We bought them off that website. You're on mute. She's on mute. She's trying to talk over there. She's on mute. But we put several of them up around town in places where we know litter is. Hey, Mandy, welcome back.
Well, you know, I'm just talking to you and I'm not even there. It was, please keep Somerville beautiful, or please, you know, don't litter. It was
Yeah.
very nice. We at least said please.
And we attached them to existing signs, 16 pole signs, like around town, and where we knew stuff usually happens.
Are y'all seeing much of the PPE litter? Are you seeing a lot of the gloves or the face mask or the hand sanitizer bottles at all?
I've seen a few masks.
I've seen a lot of masks in parking lots,
Oh,
especially.
wow. Yeah, it's more just awareness, just getting that word out. And I'm not sure what your community spends, what your city spends. I know the city of Lakeland at one point was spending, I can't remember if it was 14,000 a year, just to have someone come pick up litter on the weekends, and then their elementary school needed a new roof, and they were like, that's money that could have went to the roof, but we're having to address litter and be prevented.
On the exit streets, you're seeing mostly fast food, beer cans, stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if some of you may or may not know, does everyone know how we are funded? Does anyone have that question? Or do y'all know how we're funded?
No.
Okay, so there is what's called the Tennessee Litter Tax. And years ago, the Beverage Association, the Malt Beverage Association, when Keep Tennessee Beautiful was first started, actually prior to us being started, back when the Ain't No Lower Class Than Tennessee Trash came out, the TDOT was going over and explaining how much money they were spending to pick up litter. So the Beverage Association, the Malt Beverage Association, said they wanted to be part of the solution, since their products were part of the problem. And so they levied a tax on their products. And so any product you buy that has an ingredient in it, so Coke, beer, even water that is flavored water. Now, water that has nothing in it is not taxed, but all of those products, there is a levy tax on that, and it goes into what's called the TDOT Litter Grant Fund. So Fayette County does get a portion of that. Typically what we're seeing across the state is those grants usually go to the counties, and they're administered differently. In some counties, the mayors administer it. Some counties, the sheriff administers it. It's just different. And you have to spend a portion of that. Either you have to spend 15 to 30% of that has to be spent on education. And then the other portion is for litter pickup. And that's typically used to fund an officer that would supervise inmates on those areas that it's difficult or dangerous to put volunteers on to clean along the roadways. And in some areas, those inmates are allowed to go, and this is strictly, they're not forced to go do it. It's almost like an honor system, but they go clean up illegal dump sites. We're seeing a lot of counties. I know Tipton County, Mayor Huffman is just really concerned at the level of litter that he's seeing in the county. In addition to that, illegal dumping. I mean, I know Fayette County, back during COVID, I think some of the officer or some of the inmates were either impacted by COVID or the corrections wouldn't let them out. And so they weren't working in the convenience centers. And any of you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I was told. And a lot of counties were dealing with this. So families were home and they were wanting to clean and do spring cleaning. And then they would go to the convenience center or the dump and they wouldn't take their household stuff. And then later they would see it on the side of the road or in areas that it shouldn't be. So that's another issue that you face. And well, even in Collierville, we have illegal dumping on the site, the areas where we can't have officers regularly. So these are challenges, and they do cost your areas of government. I'm not sure what you all spend to address littering and beautification and cleaning, but it is worth just working on some initiatives.
Well, our public works guys spend time going out there and cleaning it up every week, every day, just about, on the square especially, but they drive the streets and looking for garbage. I've seen them do it, trash. So, they're doing it all. They do it constantly. So.
If you did, I will tell you, the litter law does allow, like, the enforcement piece of it, any fine, and of course, a lot of times, you want to raise awareness, you want to change that behavior, but the enforcement, any fines that are collected do go back into your fund. They don't go into a state fund. So that is, and we're happy if that's one way that we could start. We are happy if to do a litter law training, and your officers will get their post hours if they participate in the training.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. I'm so sorry I went over the 15 minutes, but we'll make ourselves available at any time.
Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you
Very
both.
well.
Thank you.
We certainly may want to follow.
Right. We leave the meeting, Mindy, right?
Yes.
You're well.
Yes,
No,
you absolutely.
You're welcome to stay.
You are welcome to stay. It will be so exciting.
The financial part's next. You can
Really
listen to all
will
that
be.
stuff.
That's all right. You just call me if you need me.
We will be in
Thank you
touch.
so much.
Thank y'all. Take
All right,
care.
bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Thank
All
y'all.
right.
All right.
Again.
Okay, any questions or comments?
Like I said, I have the PowerPoint. If anybody would like to take a look at it, I could send it to everybody later on.
So we don't have any information on what it costs to become affiliate or anything like that?
It wasn't much, was it, Mindy?
No, sir. But they had different levels of commitment and things like that. I would have to research it to make sure what we would,
Okay, could we get that information for our next meeting then?
Yes, sir.
Not next week, but the next workshop,
Sure.
so that we can see what we'd be looking at and what we might want to do.
Okay. Now, the only problem with that is, and sorry, she made it sound like it would have to be a county-wide program, but we could still call it Somerville. That was kind of the weird
She
thing.
had
So,
on her PowerPoint, she had both cities and counties.
Right.
yes, sir. But I guess I don't know to apply for some of those grants, but I'll get all the information.
Okay, well, if you just follow up on that and let's find out what we could or need or should do with
You
that.
got it?
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? All right, let's move to finance. Review August financials and individual fund recaps.
Is there any questions anybody has regarding any of this stuff? It's kind of early in the season. You're 2 months into the year, so everything seems to be going okay. There will be, I've been working on a budget amendment because of the increased insurance and stuff like that. So there will be a budget amendment sometime probably in the next couple of months. I've been working on a list of stuff, keeping track of it.
Bob, Mike French,
Yeah.
And water and other expenses, it seems like it's very high on the expense
Okay.
side.
Well, I don't know what, a lot of the other expenses are going to be high in the utilities because they paid the annual payment for their city hall rental agreement.
Right.
So percentage wise, a lot of, probably they're all a little high.
Okay.
Solid
Well,
waste,
that's the
gas.
only one I noticed being,
Yeah. I have to look, Mike. Sorry. Here, hang on a second.
okay.
Like all other expenses?
Right.
Yeah, well, it's only 20% instead of 16.67. So if you add in the city hall rental agreement, that's the difference in the percentage more than likely.
Okay. I'm sorry. I looked at it wrong.
Yeah.
Thank
If it
you.
was 486,000, that'd be a lot of money, Mike.
Yeah.
But that's all the depreciation and everything else that's in that line item.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why that line item is actually so high. It's just all the other expenses are in there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions on the finances? B, expense line item overruns.
Yep. Some advertising expenses are overruns, and then the insurance copay is the only other thing on there.
Okay, any questions on that? Capital projects and purchases.
We've made a pretty good dent so far into a lot of the capital projects. Some of them are on the agenda coming up soon. So some of these things will be settled next week, I hope, at the board meeting.
Okay, any questions on that? Sales tax.
Sales tax is rolling along pretty nicely. I think we're on a pace to do, it's going to go down a little because we did go down a little this month, I think. No, we didn't get this month yet. Sorry. We're on pace to do a pretty significant amount of money. So.
Any questions on that? Bids for the Highway 64 Museum Building roofing project will be available at the board meeting.
Yep, that bid opening is on Thursday.
You had 3 bidders show up for the
Yeah, we had 4
Pre-bid.
packets out, and we had the pre-bid meeting on the Thursday a week ago, and 3 people showed up for that meeting. We expect all 3 of them to bid.
Okay. F, review special pay for employees who would have received a pay increase in fiscal year 21. I had asked Bob to give me the figures on what that would look like. I wanted to have some additional discussions before we brought this to the board. So what I would like to do with this is to you will have the information. What I'd like to do is bring this back to the next workshop after we have another month's revenues to see if things are going to hold up like they have so far.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Any thoughts, any comments? Okay, G is discuss hiring Glankler Brown as the bond counsel for the firehouse project. You have a staff review item there in your folder.
So the way we have to take care of this, I've been doing some research on this to make sure that we have everything timed out correctly. I've been speaking to community development partners about the grant and how that's going to work, and for USDA and how that money works, and then how the interim financing and how all that's going to work together to get us to basically February 1st is basically the next big deadline on stuff. So it takes 3 months to do the environmental for the community development block grant. That's the $420,000. And then we have another 3 months in order to get the specifications created for that grant, and then start the construction process after that. So that's basically the same timeline that USDA has, and that would basically be the same timeline that we would need to create the bond anticipation note that we could use for the interim financing through our gas department. Now, we did speak to rural development and USDA rural development, and they have allowed us, or they will allow us, to use gas funds. We have to go out and get a couple more bids from local banks, but to do this bond anticipation note resolution. And in order to create that, we need a bond counsel to help us with this. So Doug Earthman has traditionally been our bond counsel. He is working on an agreement, a letter of agreement that we will have available at the board meeting if we're ready to hire him at the board meeting. So it kind of all has to, there are a lot of steps that take several months to put together. And in order to be ready for Ellen in February or March, we kind of need to get going on this now.
Okay, any questions? All right, so we will have that letter at the board meeting.
Yeah, he said he could get that to me this week, so I can have it at the board meeting. Yes, sir.
Okay. Public safety, review the monthly fire stats.
There are the fire stats. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Okay.
Police stats.
Chief? You want to go over that, Chief?
If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Has there been, with all of this COVID, Chief, has there been an increase, a decrease? Things have stayed the same? What are you seeing with that's going on?
Small spike in violent crime. We've noticed several spikes in domestic violence. In each case, the violent crime has been someone they know. It's not a random act where someone goes around assaulting people. That's what we've noticed. The first few months, we noticed a decrease in everything, in calls. And now that we're into this time period, it seems to be the violent crime part. It's picking up some, nothing to concern us as far as overall that there's a crime wave or anything like that. Just isolated incidents that normally we don't have.
Okay. Okay, and then your September report, anything you want to point out on that?
No, sir.
All right, so we have one officer back.
Right, that's what I was about to mention. Was Officer Jeff Malone did graduate Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy. He has been employed by the town of Somerville for the past 10 months. And we look forward to a career here in Somerville with us. He was also a Marine, or is a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, and served 4 years with the Marine Corps. We currently have Clint Crossnow at the academy. He started 2 days after the graduation of Jeff Malone. We had our first municipal court today. We canceled them beginning last March. So we're going to have one every Tuesday starting this month through the month of October to catch up. We had protocols in place with social distancing, requiring masks. We only had 20 people in the theater at a time. It worked out perfect. It went well. It was seamless. And everyone seemed to be pleased with it.
Did most people show up that were scheduled to be there?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions about that? If not, we can move on to the use of force policy. This is an informational piece that I wanted to include for the board, simply because it is such a hot topic right now and relevant topic in the nation regarding policy and procedure changing for police departments across the country due to the recent police brutality and killings of several people by police officers across the country. With that said, we want to make sure that our officers in our department always know the direction we're heading, and we looked to Washington from the experts, not the politicians. Don't anybody get excited. They are currently looking at the National Consensus Policy and Discussion Paper on Use of Force. This paper is a collaborative effort among 11 of the most significant law enforcement leadership and labor organizations in the U.S. This policy reflects the best thinking of all consensus organizations and is solely intended to serve as suggestions for law enforcement agencies across the country. They took a sample policy and sent it down to the states, to the governors, so that the governors could then take a look at it, form their own commissions on studying those possible changes in policy regarding use of force. And Governor Lee did that. Matter of fact, I'd like to quote some of what Governor Lee had to say regarding this policy. He had on board as his advisors the Chief of Police Association for the state of Tennessee, TPI, Department of Homeland Security, Tennessee Highway Patrol, and many other agencies, as well as the Sheriff's Association and the Police State Academy. The intent of this partnership, he said, was his desire to ensure all law enforcement are consistently reflecting the values of the communities they serve. Horrifying preventable events across the nation have challenged us all to confront the difference between law enforcement and police brutality, and also challenged us to examine troubling, inconsistent citizen experiences with law enforcement. And he was proud of our law enforcement agencies for spearheading efforts to ensure Tennesseans' rights, dignity, and humanity be the forefront of policing. And they developed a policy and procedure suggestions for use of force. That is what we have done at the department, is develop this policy. The highlighted areas you see throughout the policy are the changes that came from the suggestions from the state of Tennessee. And I've spoken with MTAS. I've also spoken with Tom Miner, and they all agree that it is good policy. And we are going to be putting it into effect in the near future within the police department. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
So Chief, this is just going to be added to your procedure. Is that right?
Right. It's going to replace our current use of force policy. The highlight, the most prevalent part of it will be the use of force regarding chokeholds and carotid artery holds, restraint holds. Chokeholds have never been part of our training, but we wanted to make sure that everyone understands that chokeholds are not permissible except in a deadly force encounter where an officer is having to use deadly force, then they would be allowed to use a chokehold if necessary. Chokeholds would not be allowed to apprehend someone. The carotid artery hold would also not be used to apprehend someone, only could be used in a deadly force encounter.
So do we have many incidents of where force is used?
Very minimal. I would, if I were to go back and look, I would say that you may have, on average, if we had 5 a year, that would be a lot. And by use of force, that could be anything from shoving someone to the ground that's resisting arrest, to possibly using the taser to effect an arrest, that type of thing.
Okay, and I see that you have a use of force reporting, so it will be
Yes, sir.
reported and then
Currently, right now, we have
investigate.
a force form, and we're still going to have one. It's just going to be a more extensive form, gathering more information about the event. Currently, each officer fills out a use of force form that I review the next business day. I then conduct my own investigation into the use of force. Normally what happens, simply because we do utilize body cam, dash cam video, that's a fairly quick process. And we always document those and we keep that information.
Okay. So do we need to do training just for Somerville officers on de-escalation?
Right. Correct. That's what we're going to do is our training officers, and we're going to meet, we're going to develop some of the new training protocol out of this. The whole document as a whole, the document already reflects a lot of what we practice and what we currently have, but we will be training on the new parts of the document. Such as, here's an example, in the new document, it does speak to shooting at moving vehicles. The new document promotes that if in any way possible, don't put yourself in a position where they run over you and you having to use that force against someone. If you have to, and there's no other way out of it, then that's what you would do. But yes, sir, we're going to be going through the training process and developing training geared towards this policy.
Do we have enough money in the budget if you wanted to bring someone in to teach de-escalation skills that we can do that?
Yes, currently for the past, I believe it's 3 years, we've been teaching de-escalation skills each in service every year. We did increase the training budget this year to accommodate for extra training. I do believe we have enough to take care of that.
Okay. I would certainly like to see us put an emphasis on de-escalation, because in the end, not only is it good public relations and community relations, it helps protect the officer.
Absolutely.
And that's the one who can really benefit from de-escalating some of these situations.
Correct.
Because if you get into a situation that you had 2 seconds to make a decision, and then the lawyers get to argue about it for 10 years,
right,
whether it was right or wrong. So if we can stay out of those situations, it's so much better for the officers.
Yes.
The next item is the duty to intervene.
Yes, sir. That is also one of the other suggested policies, which there was something in our current policy and procedure that was very, it was a couple of lines that did not address it in its totality as this does, which I believe this definitely covers it adequately. Duty to intervene is basically telling the officer that if he or she witnesses something that is against policy and procedure performed by another officer or against the law, that they're to report it immediately and it will be investigated, and that no one can take action against them for reporting it.
I think this is a very important part of it.
Yes, ma'am. Accountability.
Okay, so not only do they report, but it says they have the legal, ethical, and moral departmental responsibility to intervene, stop, and report such acts. So they
Correct.
stop it and then they report it.
Right.
Correct.
Are there any questions?
Mayor, will this be brought before the board?
You know, is this something that we've approved in the past as far as this is in your standard operating procedures, right, Chief?
Correct. It's SOP. Is
that something the board has approved in the past, or
since I've been here, we've not. I know the policy and procedure manual reads the chief of police will write policy. Now, as to whether you've done it prior to me being
We
here,
haven't, we have not done anything like that, Chief. Since I've been here.
Well, I know years ago that we probably did, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it'd be up to the board if they decided they wanted to get into the details and approve something, or if there were controversial areas that the board said, let's negotiate on this, but it obviously comes down to the board and what they want to do. Mr. French is a ex-law enforcement officer. What do you think?
Mayor, I mean, I think both the documents, and I spent some time with Chief Webb reviewing them. I think we need to approve them.
Okay.
As a board.
Well, it certainly passes some responsibility on to the board at that point, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, and I think
the chief.
Right. Well, I think we need that responsibility also.
Okay. What do the other board members think?
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, now, do we want to approve the entire policy or just start approving changes that the chief makes?
Maybe just the changes.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I think we approve it as a whole, the whole.
As a whole?
Yeah, just,
okay.
I mean, it says that we feel responsible and this is what we want done. It's been authorized by the chief and we're backing him up.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a lot of minute details that the board's deciding rather than the chief, but obviously there's probably a few places that we could have discussions so that the board understands.
Right. Well,
they're accepting.
Like I said, I've already discussed with the chief, and I think if other board members want to, they should also.
Mayor, I think it's a good idea, but if you are going to assume the whole responsibility, we're going to have to follow up as a board from time to time, get into the weeds and into the detail, because if something happened and we did not follow up on it, the board is going to be responsible.
Right.
In most cases where there is something that happens that involves a policeman, we weren't directly involved in that. But if we take it over, we need to be sure that we follow up and follow up and follow up. And it's probably something you'd want to discuss and let Tom know that we're going to accept the whole responsibility.
Well, of course, I don't really think whether the board has approved it or not. I don't know that that creates any more liability on the town than whether we didn't approve it, whether we just said to the chief, you do it all. I think in a way that us approving it, I think like Mike said, we're kind of backing the chief up.
I agree, but we're going to have to, I don't know whether it's once a quarter or once every 6 months, or that the city administrator follows up on the action to do periodic reviews, kind of like being examined in a bank. I think we would have to check our work in behind us.
Okay, why don't we get some legal opinions on all that and bring it back to the board?
Yes, sir.
Well, we
I
can
already
get
wrote
it.
that down.
we can discuss it Monday night if we
Yes,
have
sir. I already
legal
wrote it down.
opinions in time. But let's get an opinion from
I will.
Sounds
from
good.
Tom and from MTAS and
Yes.
different people, and see what other places do. I know in a lot of places that the board does approve the manuals. And I know that there are places where they get into great detail, which I don't know that we want to do, but anyway, we'll have something for you then on Monday night as far as legal opinions go. Chief,
Yes.
Is that good for you?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Any
Can I
other
make a
questions?
comment?
Yes, sir.
I feel that the chief has done the appropriate thing. He's done the research. He said he's talked to people in Washington. He wants to adopt this to his SOPs. I think he's done fine. I don't necessarily feel like that the board, we should make a motion to approve them. I think we're supporting him in him putting him in his procedure manual. We support that, the whole manual. I sort of agree with kind of nitpicking each individual policy in it. I don't think we should break each policy down in his department's manual or any department's manual unless we just absolutely need to. But I feel like that he's done his homework. It sounded like the policies will cover the officers. I do agree that if we need to budget more training for the officers, since times are like they are, I would agree with that. But I just feel like the chief has done his job and he should adopt them into his SOPs. That's what I feel like.
Well, and quite frankly, with our current chief, I don't have any problems at all with that.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like he's researched it,
Right,
studied other departments and had people say, yes, this is kind of across the board policy with these procedures. I just feel like he's credible as the chief, and I don't think I don't know. I just don't feel like we need to get into his policy that much. I mean, unless Tom says so. Then if he says so, then yeah, we will do. I feel like we should do it then after we speak with Tom.
If I remember correctly, when several years ago, when a lot of these police manuals were beginning to get adopted, I think MTAS recommended that a board approve them. The only thing you can get into, not with the current chief that we have, but somewhere down the road, for some reason the chief changed. If they have total control over the policies, they might say, we're going to pull this policy out of here of not shooting at moving vehicles. We need to do that. can't always make all your decisions based on the current players. You have to realize that things change over years.
Yeah,
But
I
let's
mean,
get the legal opinion and
Yeah.
we'll bring it back to you on Monday and see what they say.
okay.
Thank you.
We might get a chief someday that wants to go to camouflage uniforms for everyday work. Anybody else? Okay, item 3, planning, permits issued and inspections made.
Yep, kind of a light month on permits. We had one housing start this month. Of course, the previous couple of months have been pretty outstanding, so we have quite a long list of inspections that were made this month. So, the inspections lag the permits, so.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, how many permits have we sold out there in the new section of hedgerows? I'm just curious.
Oh, this month I don't have the year to date. We have right now 24 housing starts this year so far. Last year
Okay.
we had 23 for the whole year. So I have more information that I can get for you next time if you'd like on housing starts.
No, I was just curious if you had an idea of how many houses have went up in hedgerows. I knew there was a lot going up.
Well, he's putting 15 of them right. He's putting up 15 of them right now, and there isn't a sold sign on one of them. I mean, a for sale sign on one of them. So we were projecting that he may have already sold all 15. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious.
I do know that the housing market is super heated right now. So with interest rates at historic lows and everything else. So.
Sandra, did you have something?
I was just going to say that I knew there were 14 new ones going up because I've looked at them.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think there's another one.
Probably 15 by now because they go up just like mushrooms.
Right. I think there's one more sitting there in the weeds someplace that hasn't been put up yet.
Okay.
He pulled 15 permits, so he's putting 15 up right now. I don't know if they're all. I just went out there the other day and I didn't count them though, Sandra.
Yeah, I counted 14, but I mean, really, there could be another one. I hadn't been out there in about a week.
Yeah, yeah.
They're busy as bees.
Yes, they are working out there.
Code enforcement. I like this report.
You like my code enforcement report?
Whoever's it is, I like it.
Well, it's not mine. It's Stacy's. All I do is add them up and put the things at the top.
Okay.
But we addressed 30 violations this month. Of course, violations are going to start to go down because grass is going down because grass is one of the biggest violations that we have in general. And as we start weeding down some of these violations, the more difficult ones take more time. So, cleaning up junkyards, trying to help, putting up barriers around and fences so that you can't see the junk back in the back of some of these towing places. She's actually gotten a few of those resolved already. So she's working on it pretty good. And it kind of tells you every day when she goes out. She was off 1 week too this month. So there's 1 week in there that she was missing, but you can see what's been resolved and you can see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions on that? Next item is the Community Development Director's Report. And the first thing you'll see when that's pulled up is trick or treating on the square, Christmas tree lighting, and the Christmas parade. We've discussed all this, me and Mindy and Bob and Chief Webb. I'm just not sure how we can promote any of those items at this point in time. There is no way to have a Christmas parade or a Christmas tree lighting or trick or treating and maintain social distance and maintain masking Well, in fact, we couldn't enforce masking anyway because the county mayor has decided that that's not needed anymore, or that he doesn't have a masking order in place. So for us to promote something that puts a lot of people side by side, no mask, no ability to even say put on a mask, I just don't know how we do any of those. I'd like to hear y'all's comments, but
Well, I will say that since there's no school, there wouldn't be any children's choir for the Christmas tree lighting,
Right.
which brings 99% of the crowd, I think. So that would be very difficult. And you're in an enclosed room for sure.
Right. And a lot of people shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
It just wouldn't work.
No, that wouldn't work at all. That's for
well, I
sure.
can assure you I won't be there, and I'm always there, but I will not be there under those circumstances.
Yeah.
It's sad that we can't have it, but facts are facts.
I know my daughter lives in Austin, and Austin is not doing trick or treating on Halloween. So the whole town is not doing it. So my kids, my grandchildren, they're not going trick or treating. They're going to have their cousins over, and that's all they're doing. So
I think that's the way most children are going to do it.
I think so too.
And now they're not only talking about so many children being together, but anybody that touches that candy bar, you know, getting it in and out of the container. I mean, they're talking about that.
I don't know how good candy would be soaked in Clorox. I just don't think that.
I think you're right. Nobody'd want it after that, would they?
I don't know. There are some people out there that might take the advice to use it that way. I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
You couldn't resist that.
All right. So is there any thoughts by anybody else about not having these events?
Are you asking about promoting them or?
No,
we just wouldn't
we
have.
would like to not do them.
Well, those are three things that we have always promoted, and we've also done. I mean, we promote that. I guess the chamber has always helped with the trick or treating on the square, I believe. Hadn't y'all, Tina? Are you with us, Tina? Hadn't y'all participated in that?
Yes, sir.
So, what are you hearing from your members about any of this kind of stuff?
It's 50-50.
Well,
I mean,
as
a lot of
usual.
people, so it's just a kind of a hard call. I mean, a lot of people are going to do it regardless. I mean, some businesses are saying they're going to do it just because. I mean, the chamber is going to follow the town of Somerville's lead. I just think it's probably best right now, especially with flu season approaching. So whatever y'all do, we're supporting it.
Okay, we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of my next question is, the first one was, of course, about us promoting it. But if we say that, it can't happen and a business takes it upon themselves to open and give out candy, I mean, what can we do about that? Or
nothing. We can't do anything. But we can. I mean, we don't have to promote it. We obviously can't stop a business on Halloween from. Of course, on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, which would be actual Halloween, there's not going to be anything open on the square at 4:00 in the afternoon to speak of anyway.
I mean, I see it both ways. I see people's view of not having it, and I see people's view of having it. I just wondering if, I mean, I could see us not promoting it for safety's sake, I guess, this year. But I don't see how we can emphasize anybody, to not do it. I mean, because even if we do and they do it and there's nothing that we can do about it, then why tell people not to do it? Only thing I think we can suggest is if they do it, there is consequences that can happen if they decide to give out candy for trick or treat.
So as far as that goes, Jason, I don't think we're advocating canceling Halloween for the entire town. That's not what we're talking about. All we're talking about is the town sanctioned trick or treating on the square that we usually do every year. So,
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Christmas tree lighting and the Christmas parade. We're not canceling Christmas and we're not canceling Halloween. We don't have the enforcement to stop people from trick or treating.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If there were
Right.
several businesses
All, all we would be doing is not promoting something where.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
That's all we're doing.
That's correct.
We're not creating a venue where people might get sick.
That's correct.
The case where the obvious solution is more likely the best solution.
Mayor Neal.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, this is Tina Glover again. So I just got on Facebook just to see what community events are available. So the kids are still going to have Halloween because Warren Baptist Church or Warren Community Church is doing a trunk or treat. Fayette Baptist is doing it. So the kids are still going to be able to do it just elsewhere other than the square.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's up to those organizations, certainly.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Something we could do is put in the newspaper that due to COVID-19, that the town of Somerville will not be promoting the trick or treating on the square this year. That would eliminate even people from thinking of going in there, going and doing that.
Well, we certainly could.
I don't know if that's something that would need to be done or not, but just an idea.
And then
we will definitely put out, some sort of a notification via the Falcon, as well as, social media, direct emails, things like that.
Okay.
But like you said, we're not canceling Halloween itself. We're just not sanctioning this event on that Friday prior to, Halloween.
Right.
Whatever we run, let's end it by saying, please wear a mask and social distance and wash your hands.
Okay.
I mean, when the CDC says if everybody would put on a mask, it'd be over with in 12 weeks. I don't know why we wouldn't try that. It might be better than fooling with this for the next year. But anyway, all right, off my soapbox. Any more thoughts on these items? Would you like to finish your report that I gave?
Sure. Basically, this month we finished quite a few projects. We started quite a few projects. The landscaping around the square has been completed, and that contract began for the 12 months starting October 1st. I'm not sure if any of you have been able to, walk the square or drive around, but it is clean. It looks fantastic. We've still got a couple of little issues that we've got going on that we will be replacing a couple of rose bushes and things like that, but fairly minimal. But everything else looks pretty good. Miss Sandra and I, we were tasked with getting a few smaller items cleaned up. Those were completed today. Bob and I took a ride over to the cemetery to take a look at those, and they did a great job on that. So Miss Sandra, next time you're out, definitely take a look. As you drive in, you'll notice that all those shrubs and some of those just eyesore items are gone. So that's very nice. I'll
go through there tomorrow.
Yes, it does. He just finished it today. A lot of time has been taken on the Tennessee Tourism Cares Act, coordinating with the towns, all of the vendors, creating ads, things like that, as well as the PPE for festivals and events. We've purchased PPE for the Fayette County Chamber, Rossville for their barbecue festival, just different things like that. And we've had a webinar every Wednesday, the month of September, for the Tennessee CARES Act, as well as the downtown grant. But that's primarily what I've been working on the most. And then all the other nonsense that's on there.
Nonsense.
Well, you know, I know my notes are, those are actually for me probably more than they are for you. So to make
Well,
sure I know what I'm talking
I find them very interesting.
Okay, well, good.
Any questions? Next item is the Planning Commission report.
So we had a planning commission meeting and talked about the guidelines for the BZA. We've redrafted some of that information again for this meeting coming up. Right now, there's nothing on the agenda for next week. So we'll probably just won't have another planning commission meeting until the 27th of October. I've been talking to Jim Atkinson, who is our contract planner, about that BZA review stuff, and we've been kind of honing in what we want to talk about at that meeting. So that's moving along. We did have 2 design review commission meetings this month. One of them was both of them were for the new proposed addition to the Jernigan Drive building, which was for the Pomida at the Pomida building for Memphis Contract Packaging. And so that went through on the second meeting, which was September the 22nd. So that was approved. And then they now called me up the other day and they want to add another piece on Ballpark Road. So that will be coming to the Planning Commission sometimes this month or next month.
Okay, any questions about the Planning Commission? Public Works Manager's report.
This is Jeep's report. Any questions about Jeep's report?
And the monthly report.
And the monthly report shows the gas and where we are in storage as of last month. We're at, I don't know where we are right now. I think 87% right now this month, except it is cold. So this month, so we may not put a lot more into storage as we're moving along. Again, the blended price is pretty low, $2.54, and which includes our transportation costs. And then our adjusted rate is 41 cents per CCF. We do still have that 5-year winter strip out there. Right now, we're not in the money. We were in the money a little bit in September, where the gas actually went above $2.58 for several days. So the price did go up this month. It'll be up to 42 cents next month for the rate, but it's not significant. It didn't really affect things significantly. But starting November 1st, we have that contract where we purchase 1,000 a day at $2.58.5 every day, which is about 1/4 of what we use during the wintertime.
Okay, so if
And
you
you see-
bought gas today, what would it cost?
It was under $2. I get once a month, I get a piece of paper that tells you what the cost is. And it was right around $2 for the raw gas without the transportation. So that would be the $2.58.5 would be just purchasing the gas itself. Right now, our average cost of our gas and storage, our blended average cost is $2.54, which includes the transportation cost. So it's not just the raw cost of the gas itself.
So how much is transportation?
Well, I don't know. Let me get my spreadsheet up here. Oh, wait a minute.
Mr. French, don't you know that right off the top of your head?
Mayor, I would tell you, but I'm afraid it would be wrong.
Okay. I mean, aren't you our gas guru?
I don't
It
think I'm a
changes. It
guru.
changes monthly, Mayor.
Well, I know that, but I just don't.
I can tell you what our average cost of gas is for the first 3 months of this year. Our average transportation cost is around 60 cents. It's 66, 66, and 52 divided by 3.
What is this black thing that you just put up on the screen?
Oh, that was my spreadsheet I just opened up. Sorry. It's 61 cents.
Well,
61.
I didn't want to know that much. Take your spreadsheet down.
Well, I had to get you one of the information there, Mayor. You got
We're
it.
going to lose Douglas if you start springing spreadsheets on him this late in the meeting.
Well, there really
think
wasn't much on that spreadsheet.
I didn't see anything.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
because
either.
I didn't share it. All it did was block out the screen.
Oh, okay.
So it's around 60 cents. I can tell you that when we were dealing with Tenergy, it was over $1. So,
Okay.
and because TAC actively manages our transportation costs, we decreased our costs significantly.
Okay.
So,
Good. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Okay. B is the bids.
So,
for the
Mayor,
writing.
I'd like to say one more thing. So, the 254 is a decatherm. Sorry. So it's that 60 cents is, so our average cost of gas right now is about $1.93 is what we have in storage. If you kind of add all that together. Sorry.
Okay. You're about to tell me more than I want to know.
I know. Well, you asked though. You asked for it. You got it, Toyota.
4B, Mr. Douglas, did you have something to say? Okay.
No.
Okay. 4B is the bids on the ride-on tractor. So do we have anything? Oh, that's available at the board meeting.
This will be available at the board meeting. That bid opening is at 10:30 on Thursday.
Okay. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed tonight?
I don't think so.
Can I bring up something?
You sure can.
Okay, I met with Dolores Gresham and Jamie Dalby about an art show for, showing Jamie's work.
Okay.
And I think we're planning on doing it at Dolores's office. They have that big hallway there.
Okay.
But another thing that, of course, we didn't just talk about that. It had to go into something more. So, but we were talking about an arts council or an arts commission to start for the town of Somerville. Now, I don't know if that's something that we would want to do or what. I told them I wanted to bring it up to y'all to see what everybody's opinion is of that, because I don't even know what all it would entail to get something like that up and running. So,
Well,
any ideas?
I have wanted, and I'm conveniently using COVID to put everything off that I think about for months, apparently. But I had wanted to talk with y'all about creating an advisory board for the museum art space that we're going to eventually open. And so I think we could work that into that sort of thing, if that was workable, or we might want to have an advisory committee on the museum space, and then maybe have a subcommittee that would be an arts council, or there's lots of different ways we could do that. So, I mean, everybody just be thinking about what we'd like to do along those lines. But I think that could either be a part of it, or it could be like a subcommittee of it, or it could be a totally separate organization.
Well,
If we-
I, I, I don't know how far without funding for the museum, and I don't know if we could incorporate a part of that building to do art exhibits, because I've got another couple of people that would love to come out here to have another one from Memphis. And they're right now showing at Palladio.
Well, and that was something that we had certainly discussed is as we build the museum, certainly I think one of the things we could also, we're going to have a lot of space over there. So
That's what I was thinking.
we could certainly have, I don't know why we couldn't have art shows over there
Okay.
in the museum to some extent. I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
It-
You know, it's going to take a while to get the museum going. I don't,
With artifacts in it.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many artifacts will be in there. I was thinking that if we could do something like that, also, it might add more interest to the building, you know.
Yes.
Could
Well, it would.
draw people.
Well, it could bring people out there, you know, for a reason, you know, have a reason to have an art show for a month or whatever it would take to put an art show together. I don't know. I think they don't just happen in one weekend. They're usually like a month long or so,
Right.
Yeah, or even 3 months.
or even 3
But-
months. Right.
Yeah, I was thinking, Judy, basically when we applied for that placemakers grant, when we were talking about the artist co-op,
Uh-huh.
like Mayor said, I think that, you know, as we're curating the pieces, that's going to take a lot longer, and we're going to have specific display cabinets made for certain items and things like that. And to do it well, you have to really look into it and make it make sense and things like that. I think having a gallery, you know, obviously, I mean, that's in the title of it, but the gallery portion of it, as soon as the renovations are done and the bathrooms are done, I think that could start immediately if the board approved. You know,
That'd be
because
cool.
that's fairly easy. And you know, you have the grand opening, you could do local artists, you could do you could do every kind of artist, and you could have a new artist in there every 6 weeks if you wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I think that's absolutely. And the thing is, you can also have events that are not art related just to get people in there. If the chamber wanted to have a luncheon in there or something like that, you're going to be pulling from different groups of people to see this artwork, and it will sell.
I think so too. And if you have a large opening, I know the couple that I know that is at Palladio, they have a extensive list of people they send invitations to, and that's from
Exactly.
Memphis. And they would definitely share that with us. So
Yes.
it would draw people from Memphis, and we could, you know, probably Hardeman County, you know, Brownsville. We need to get the area around
Yes,
us.
I agree.
So I think it could turn into something really big. It even came up that, you know, if it did take a long time for the museum, that we could actually temporarily rent out artist booths, you know,
Yes.
set up booths in that building where they would pay a certain amount each month.
Right.
So I don't know, there were a bunch of ideas that were thrown out, and, you know, of course, Dolores got into all the things about an arts commission, what all you have to do statewide, you know, through the state to get it commissioned. And I'm sure
Right.
y'all know that better than I do. I'm not.
I would
in the
say it's
groove on
probably,
that.
I would say it's probably similar to what we'll have to do to create the board for the museum. So, you know, I mean, once we start on that, we certainly could, you know, move forward however you all chose.
Okay, and see, we could include the Fair Theater with that too, with the star
Mhm.
programmer, whoever's
You
doing it
could.
now.
Absolutely.
So I think it would just draw a lot of people, and that's what we want.
Yes.
Right.
Well, if we had a new artist every month, that would mean we could have a wine and cheese opening every month.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Wine curated by John David Douglas. So
From his private
from his
stock.
personal stash.
Finally, a good idea here.
Cheers.
Oh.
We will,
Oh.
yes, let's keep that in mind and let's start some work on that and start looking at some things and see what we want to do, because that's, we've got to, I don't know how much longer I can blame COVID for not getting some of this stuff online and done, but
It has slowed us down completely.
it slowed me
Yes, it
down a
has.
lot. You wouldn't believe.
Just look
how
at the
much it
look at the
slowed
sign
me
on the
down.
Fair Theater that still has March up there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Well,
things kind of
Mindy-
stopped.
Yeah. Mindy, can I get with you one day this week when you're free?
Sure. Anytime.
Okay. I'll give you a buzz and we can hash through it. Sandra, if you want to come,
Yeah.
if you want
Can
to.
I come?
You can come, Bob. Yes.
Okay, thanks. I want to come too.
Okay.
Let me know when
Somebody
you're
has to
going
rein
to
in the spending limit on that.
I know. And you're the one. We were trying to avoid that.
We can talk him into anything, I'm telling you.
Okay. Good.
The only day I can't do it is Thursday.
Well, then I'd better show up if y'all can talk Bob into anything.
Yeah, I think you need to
Well, now,
show up,
you know,
Mayor.
you're a pushover too, Ronnie. Now, you know that.
Well, probably. Is there anything else?
Mayor, with the passing of Gerald Tomlinson, who was a retiree of the town of Somerville, could we have a moment of silence put on the agenda?
Yes, and if we would prepare a resolution.
Okay,
And I'll get with you on that, Bob.
okay.
Mindy, let's get a resolution put together honoring him and for the board meeting.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, if there is nothing else.
I just got one question to ask Bob.
Yep.
Hey, it was either this morning or yesterday morning. I was going to work and I noticed on the east side of the square was very, very dark. Are we having some lighting issues, or did we have any LEDs put up when the sidewalk project come through? Or was there not?
I
any
don't
put
know.
over
You
there?
mean the lights weren't lit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was just very, very dark. The rest of the square was very bright. It looked good. But
Well, the new
that
lights
east
are a
side-
lot brighter, Jason.
Yeah.
They're like
I didn't.
they're like
it
the
seemed like I
sun.
didn't see any at all. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe get Jeep to check it out, or someone to check it out.
Right, Chris.
It just looked very, very, very dark. It
Okay.
was either this morning or yesterday morning.
Okay, they're
On
the
the-
older
What side
lights.
was it?
It was
On the east side. Those are the
over-
older
East
lights.
side. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know
they're
if we
the
had
older
any
lights.
put up when the sidewalk project come through, or I didn't know if we'd done that side as well, or
We did
if
not.
they were just out. So
I don't know. I didn't notice. Now that it's dark earlier, I'll get to see some of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, now,
Well,
aren't we going to do some work on that side of the square anyway later on?
Yes, we are. We have a grant coming up. Probably will replace most of those lights with
Right.
new LEDs.
Yeah.
That grant is probably going to start in about a year. Just guessing. That's putting up changing kind of the way you turn coming in. Going down on the 76 from 64, and
Uh-huh.
then it's going to put the traffic signals in there, the new traffic signals.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff. It's another $1 million grant.
Right. Right.
The best
So
part
that's-
is we only have to pay $50,000 to get that $1 million.
Wow.
So that's a good grant.
So that should
But I'll
take
check out
care
that
of that
lighting.
Okay, if there's nothing else, thank you, Tina, for attending the meetings. We appreciate you being here. If there's nothing else, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.